and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I am going to be looking at an extinct zoo video. This one is dinosaur facts you never knew you wanted to know. It's very possible that I did, in fact, know I wanted to know some of these facts. Just knowing me. Knowing me. But I've been enjoying watching these extinct zoo videos, so thanks for those who suggested them. I'm looking forward to seeing more random facts about dinosaurs today. Let's go.
With any of the following problems.
Hey.
Do you struggle with any of the following problems? Not knowing what to talk about on a first date? Clueless on how to socialize at a party? Or perhaps nervous about an upcoming networking event? Well, if any of this applies, then this video might be for you. And if not, then still stick around, because I'm about to enlighten you on a bunch of random, obscure dinosaur facts that might just come in handy one day. Or might not, but hey, at least they're interesting.
It'll be fun to know.
And let's start with one that likely won't even remain true by this time next year. Or even next month. And that is the most recently described dinosaur, which was the Enigma cursor Mollyborthelke, both a mouthful and a Neornithischian herbivore from the late Jurassic period.
Okay.
Well, at least this would have been the newest, a week ago when I started researching this, but as fate would have it, there has been a new find since, with the newest dinosaur being the Chinese sauropod Tongnanlong Zimingi. Again, another one of those species with a tricky name, but it still doesn't come close to Micropachycephalosaurus hongtuyanensis, meaning small thick-headed lizard of Hongtuyan, who holds the—
You know what? Says it all in the name. It's very explicit. It describes it well, tells you where you found it. Love it. That's all you really need in a name.
crown for the longest name of any dinosaur species.
Especially for how small
Meanwhile,
it
the
is.
shortest winner goes to Yi Chi, which possesses the absolute least amount of letters allowed by the group that makes the rules on naming dinosaurs. And yes,
4?
that's a real group.
It's a real group? You can have 4 letters in the name.
Ironically, both the longest and shortest named dinosaurs lived in Mesozoic China. And speaking of China, it is one of the top 3 countries where the most dinosaurs have been unearthed, with the other 2 being US and Argentina. And actually, it's just the top 10 countries that account for 3/4 of all known dinosaur species.
Wow.
But then on the opposite side of the spectrum, the largest country in the world where no dinosaurs have ever been found is the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Weird. They just the black zone for dinosaurs was in Congo, huh? Why? That's so strange. Are they just not doing expeditions there, maybe?
Which, in case you didn't know this, is the 11th largest country on Earth.
Wow, I did not know that. That's really cool. But that's so crazy. Do they just not do expeditions there? I mean, I feel like it would be difficult now.
Though, it is the supposed home to a mythological, apparently still living dinosaur, named the Mokele Mbembe.
Well, we're not here
for exist.
Yeah, we're not here for cryptids, babes.
Emphasis on the not. However, Mokele Mbembe, or not, dinosaurs are indeed still all around us, seeing that birds are, well, literally theropods, and theropods are, well, literally dinosaurs. And the largest bird we know of that actually lived amongst its non-avian relatives was the Gargantuavis, an ostrich-sized bird from the late Cretaceous Hatzig Island, meaning it was really Europe that had the first big bird, not the US. And so obviously, this was pretty meaty for a bird back in those times, but still pitifully small compared to its other cousins that it shared the planet with, as just the average-sized dinosaur across the board was about 4,282 kilograms, or 9,440 pounds.
That one looked like the dinosaur that was in Frozen World from Dinosauria, that dinosaur that was just shown.
So just a little heavier than this EV Hummer right here.
Wow.
However, the median, which is better at showing the most common weight, was closer to 630 kilograms, or 1,389 pounds, so about the size of an adult bison.
Dang,
so considering the average, you can bet there's quite a range in dinosaur size, with the largest known genus, based off of uncontroversial and substantial evidence,
oh my god, that's a chunky neck. Oh my god, that looks so weird.
Being the sauropod Argentinosaurus, which weighed some 80 tons and measured 36 meters or 118 feet long, while the smallest dinosaur is actually a living one, if we include birds, with that title going to the bee hummingbird, which is about the size of your thumb. Pretty cool, right? So cool that maybe at this very moment, you've been inspired to buy the legacy of these titans. And I'm not talking about a chicken, but rather a fossil. But before you do, just make sure your finances are in order, because they can be downright expensive, with the most costly fossil ever being sold for $44.6 million, which if you're the average human worldwide, would take you 4,597 years just to save up for it. And who was this good-looking, expensive as
Oh my God. Why? Ooh, stop it. Ooh, no, I don't like it. Why did they give him human lips? What is this nonsense? Oh my God, I'm going to be seeing this in my nightmares until I die. Why did they give him a Chad chin? Oh,
Double hockey stick dinosaur, you may ask? Well, a remarkably well-preserved stegosaurus named Apex, who lived approximately 150 million years ago. And that's a pretty cool name and all, but a bit misleading, as this was no apex predator, unlike some creatures which it shared the planet with, or should I say water with, such as the Liopleurodon and Pliosaurus. And you can bet the waters back then were filled with sea monsters, and making you wish there was a way you could enjoy fishing without any of the unwanted dangers. And actually, there is. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Fishing Clash. Just about the only way
I was
you can
wondering
catch
what fishing had to do
megalodons,
anything
and so many more
with this,
monstrosities, while at the same time keeping your hands, arms, and feet. Not convinced yet? Well, if you're a
No.
nature lover, then listen to this. It's got a vast amount of detailed ecosystems to explore, unique fish species specific to their real-life habitats, and
Okay,
virtual
that's
events that
kinda
promote
cool.
sustainability and conservation,
That's
allowing you
kinda
to both have a
cool.
great time and make the world a better place. And if you worry that Fishing Clash may suffer from some of the normal pitfalls of regular apps, then take solace in some of these facts. First, despite a 7-year run, it is still updating on the regular. Second, it
7
allows you to
years,
play the game
dang.
both casually or competitively depending on what you're looking for. And third, everything is unlockable through free play. And clearly, something is cooking here, as 50 million people are already
So,
playing the game.
not
If you're
quite a
interested,
gotcha
download the
game.
game using my link in the description box or scan the QR code on the screen.
Okay.
And use my special gift code to claim a $20 value reward, including a unique avatar, for free. And now back to the video. So obviously, Stegosaurus being 150 million years old is, quite, well, old. I mean, the stego was even ancient by dinosaur standards. In fact, it is so old that we Homo sapiens are closer to the T-Rex in time than the T-Rex was to the Stegosaurus.
Wow.
And actually, its entire group, the Stegosauria, were already long gone by the time the asteroid arrived. And
Oh,
just as an
dang.
additional fun fact, those spikes at the end of its tail are called a thagomizer. And the reason why
That's cool. See, that's something I did want to know. I wanted to know what the spikes are called. I think I've heard that before.
is mainly because of a 1982 comic where a caveman teacher is teaching other cavemen
That's
about
so funny.
Stegosaurus.
Oh my God. Really? That's so funny. Good job.
And well, decided to call it a thagomizer. And yes, I'm serious.
That's so
But now
cool.
going back to the whole time thing. Another one for the road is that the time between the Spinosaurus and the T-Rex was approximately 93 times longer than the total existence of us modern humans. So yeah, dinosaurs have been around for a hot minute. And
Yup.
paleontologists currently think that the first in the scene, i.e. the oldest dinosaur, was the Nyasasaurus, a smaller
Ooh.
creature from Triassic Tanzania, who was around 243 million years old, making dinosaurs older than bees, pine trees, ants, flies, and turtles, to
Are
name
they
a few.
older than sharks?
On the other hand, the youngest known non-avian dinosaur is regarded by some to be the Triceratops, or rather, a Triceratops. As 13 centimeters, or 5 inches below the pollen-calibrated KT boundary, a lone Triceratops horn was found, the youngest bone yet.
Oh,
Its
that's
discovery
so
back in the
cool.
early 2010s was also very big news, as it got rid of the gap hypothesis, which essentially claimed that dinosaurs had died before the asteroid, as there was a geological zone of about 3 meters, or 10 feet, in which no dinosaur fossils had yet been found. And Triceratops actually holds another distinct distinction, as under
Cool.
phylogenetic nomenclature, dinosaurs are actually defined as, of all the descendants of the most recent common ancestor of Triceratops and modern birds. And this might seem pretty specific, but it actually covers a lot, i.e. all dinosaurs. And dinosaurs ultimately came in just about every shape and size, which is why it's a bit surprising that as far as we know, there was never a fully marine dinosaur. Now, there is evidence that semi-aquatic dinosaurs were a thing,
Interesting.
but nothing 100% aquatic.
Well, you know what? That I can feel like that makes sense. You know, the ocean's huge, right? And super deep. I bet there's lots of fossils down in the depths that we've just never discovered. Like, I mean, and things moved around too, right? So it's like some places that used to be undersea are not, but like, you know, then like, I mean, some of them probably got like crushed by tectonic plates over time, you know? I don't know. I don't really know how most of the stuff works, but it does make sense that like if you're looking for something fully aquatic, it would be very difficult to find because it's difficult to get down that deep if you're a human.
And this actually extends to birds as well, seeing that even penguins don't spend their entire lives in the water. And no, the mosasaur doesn't count, as it is obviously not a dinosaur. and neither are pterosaurs or the Dimetrodon, which is often considered to be the animal most often mistaken for one.
That's
Now,
what
on
I
the flip
learned
side,
recently.
the Oviraptor was definitely a dinosaur. And
Oh.
if you've seen the movie called Dinosaur, or perhaps certain documentaries, you might think of it as an egg thief, with its name meaning exactly that. But, as it so turns out,
okay.
this famous egg snatcher was innocent all along. You see,
no.
the holotype had been found on top of multiple eggs, leading to the idea that it had died mid-snack. But now, it is believed that those eggs were actually its own, meaning that in reality, it was just a good mom
Just
that
chilling.
died trying to protect its children. A
Aw.
tragedy as those little unhatched guys had their entire lives in front of them.
And then why did you call? Oh, that's so mean. Oh, it was just chilling. I thought that there was like reasons to believe that, like it was found, like there was remains of it, like with eggs that weren't its own, you know. But because one of them one time was found on a bunch of eggs, they immediately assumed that they stole it. Wouldn't my immediate assumption would definitely be that it was their eggs. Okay, I don't know.
And some dinosaurs actually had rather long ones, with the longest lived believed to be sauropods, who possibly could live to a maximum of 100 years or older,
Wow.
while smaller dinosaurs typically lived shorter lifespans.
But I feel like they wouldn't usually, right? Because like trying to feed yourself for that long would be a pain in the ass.
And a bit like trees, dinosaur bones also have
Ooh.
growth lines, which allow paleontologists to sometimes take a stab at estimating the age at which a specimen died.
That's
And
pretty
across
cool.
the main dinosaur groups, those being the ornithischian, theropods, and sauropodomorphs, the oldest confirmed age from each group has been a 31-year-old Draconyx, a 53-year-old Meraxes, and a 60-year-old Diplodocus, respectively.
All right.
Of course, though, older individuals are probably still out there. After all, it's thought that less than 1% of all dinosaurs that ever lived are actually represented in the fossil record.
Wow.
And there is no
Well, that's
chance that we will
cool.
ever find all the ones that did live. But that being said, can you guess
Less
which
than
dinosaur
1%.
was the most common overall? And the answer is of course subject to change, but for now, many think it was the Edmontosaurus, a large North American hadrosaur which is known through over 10,000, possibly 25,000, individuals. And this is
Wow.
actually a minimum, as this number pertains just to a single square kilometer from one of the formations it lived in, the
Whoa!
Lance Formation, which dates to the Cretaceous. And the Cretaceous is of course one of the three periods the dinosaurs lived through, the other two being the Triassic and Jurassic, that altogether form the Mesozoic, an era commonly nicknamed the Age of Dinosaurs. And did you know that throughout this entire period,
That'll
the
do
Earth
it.
was so much warmer than the present that no dinosaur lived in a time of permanent ice sheets or glaciers? And this partially explains the fact that dinosaurs managed to live in every single continent, including Antarctica. And
Oh.
actually, because Antarctica was closer to Australia and South America, it's believed that certain groups, like sauropods, would use the continent as a stepping stone to get to the other side.
Whoa!
Thus explaining why certain South American dinosaurs and Australian ones are so similar.
That's
Now,
so cool.
migrating through Antarctica is pretty rad and all, but it's ultimately just one of the countless dinosaur facts out there. So to increase the ratio of dinosaur facts per minute, I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent, jumping
Okay.
from one fact to the next. So in other words, brace
Oh,
yourself.
that person totally just lost that game of hopscotch though. You can't land with both feet in the 10.
Dinosaurs, despite being known as the terrible lizards, are not lizards. They are in fact part of the clade Archosauromorpha, which also contain pterosaurs, crocodilians, etc. While
Okay.
lizards fall into the clade Lepidosauromorpha, which also contains groups such as snakes. Furthermore, all dinosaurs can technically be divided into just two groups, one being the dinosaurs with bird-like hips, while others are those who possessed lizard-like hips. And dinosaurs lived so long ago that grass only evolved towards the end of their reign, roughly first
Whoa.
appearing during the Albian stage
Older than
of the
grass.
Cretaceous. They are also so ancient that at the time of their existence, Earth was on the complete other side of the galaxy than it is today. So that line from Star Wars really ain't too inaccurate when applied to Jurassic Park. We often think of crocodiles as being somewhat dinosaur-like, and this is actually kind of correct, seeing that crocodiles are the closest thing we have to dinosaurs that are not dinosaurs, genetically speaking. And despite many
That's
thinking
so
crocodiles
cool.
are equally ancient, they didn't even actually coexist with the terrible lizards,
Oh.
at least not the true crocs, with those only evolving some 46 million years ago. And one other
Only.
fact that people often get wrong is the fact that fossils are not actually dinosaur bones, but rather what were their bones, which over a very long time have been surrounded by a sediment that hardened to rock, encasing the bones, after which minerals very gradually replaced the bone's original material.
So none of it's a real bone? That's crazy. I did not know that. That's really cool.
And there is a pretty interesting technique to tell if something you found is a rock or a dinosaur bone, and that's to lick it, as fossils are more porous, meaning that your tongue will stick to them. But I wouldn't try this trick on any live specimens if you ever find yourself in Jurassic Park.
I learned that from Lindsay Nicole. If you lick it, it'll stick to your tongue if it's real.
Which, speaking of, the majority of the animals featured in Jurassic Park are actually from the Cretaceous, not the Jurassic. But the creator decided on Jurassic because, well, he thought it sounded cooler.
It does.
To be honest, I kind of agree. What I also
Cretaceous Park kind of sounds like there's just going to be crabs there, like crustaceans. Like, Jurassic Park just sounds cooler.
Pretty cool, though, is the fact that records indicate that dinosaur bones have very many times confused ancient civilizations, with the Chinese confusing them for dragon bones, while Europeans attributed them to biblical creatures and giants. And even in the early days of paleontology, dinosaurs were viewed as biblical creatures.
Well, then, like, yeah, I'm sure biblical creature, like, in biblical times, they find these bones. My eye is so itchy, I'm sorry. In biblical times, they found these bones, and I'm sure they thought that they were monsters of some kind, you know? Like, well, they were, obviously, but, you know, makes sense to the Europeans, so think with the Bible has some weird descriptions of some weird creatures.
At least for a bit. With one idea painting them to be animals designed to end the suffering of the old. And how? Well, of course, by killing them.
I was just stalking those two. Look, that guy is like coming up on those two, just walking off into the sunset. That thing's gonna kill him.
Animals designed to end the suffering of the old. And how?
Weird.
Well, of course, by killing them. But I'm about to end your suffering by speeding up the regurgitation of facts a little bit more. So let's go. While birds are the last dinosaurs standing, they did almost join them in extinction. As despite the common belief, the KT asteroid did indeed kill off the vast majority of them. The fossilized poop of a dinosaur is referred to as a coprolite, and the largest one ever discovered is a specimen that's been named, specifically Barnum, which weighs about 9.3 kilos or 20 pounds, and is thought to have come from a T-Rex,
20 pounds of poop,
where it is currently held within a museum in the US fittingly named the Pooseum. And granted, calling something dinosaur poop is rather specific. So how do we know it's really that? Well, through various signs. In the case of Barnum, it was verified as a T-Rex droppings, as it was discovered next to a T-Rex skeleton, and had the typical shape of fossilized dung.
I mean, it looks like a little croissant. So that's kind of funny. That T-Rex knew what was coming then, huh? it saw its death approaching, immediately shit a brick, and then died. Or maybe it just did that thing where it's like, you know, when you person dies. Don't people like shit when they die? Either way.
As well as containing crushed and digested fragments of bones, with a high level of phosphorus and calcium, which is typical among fossilized dung. And thanks to their often huge sizes, number 2 ain't the only thing they've hit records on, with this group also representing the largest carnivores and herbivores to have ever lived. Not surprisingly though, this also translates into the largest other things as well, including the largest claws, arms, legs, tails, and footprints of any known animal.
Wow.
Which, funny enough though, does not include teeth size. But T-Rex teeth are oddly similar in size and shape to bananas, so still plenty big. And despite looking comically small, each of its arms were able to lift things up to 199 kilos or 439 pounds.
Wow.
Furthermore, it's thought that at any given moment, approximately 20,000 T-Rex roamed North America during the Cretaceous, with the same study that supplied this number estimating that 2.5 billion T-Rex lived and died during the entire existence of the species.
Wow.
And one of its favorite prey, hadrosaurs, would occasionally deliberately munch on rotten wood, likely to access fungi, decomposed wood material, and possibly the many insectivores trapped within. Let's get a little faster. Dilophosaurus is the only dinosaur from the original Jurassic Park movie that was significantly larger in real life than it was portrayed. Paleontologists can sometimes tell the identity of a dinosaur off of a single bone or tooth, as certain ones possess autapomorphies, meaning traits only seen in certain taxonomic groups, like species, genus, or families. An example of this is Spinosaurus teeth, which have very unique features. The Carnotaurus is one of the more famous dinosaurs out there, yet despite its celebrity status, it is only known from a single skeleton, albeit a miraculously well-preserved and completed one. The non-avian dinosaurs survived approximately 6 extinction events until the 7th, i.e. that giant pesky asteroid, successfully took them out. The US states where no dinosaur fossils have ever been found include Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Michigan, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wisconsin.
That's a lot of ones that no US and that's a lot. That's a lot of states that have no dinosaur skeletons or fossils or anything. It's so interesting though, because like it's so weird when they're like in the middle of, because I can kind of understand, like it makes a little bit more sense when it's more like on the sides, because it feels like, oh, things, got broken off, or like things up, when things broke apart, or when the geography changed, it makes a little bit more sense. But like places like that's in the middle, I feel like that's harder. Like the Congo too. It was just like, it's when things are in the middle, why? Why were they not there? Was it just like the soil wasn't right for some reason to preserve it? Or like, I don't know. I would be curious. That's what I want to know now, is like, why do we think that they weren't found in these places?
While Washington was the most recent one to find a dino. Some dinosaurs had asymmetrical ears like an owl in order to help them hunt. At the same time, some dinosaurs laid perfectly spherical eggs, opposed to the oval shapes you often associate with both dinosaurs and birds.
Interesting.
Fossil fuel does not come from dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were also called pachypods, and the rex came awfully close to being named the Manospondylus gigas. Even though sauropods are much bigger, it is the rex who had the largest eyes of any known dinosaur, and also that of any known terrestrial
I guess that makes
animal.
sense to like be able to catch things easier, predators. It makes sense.
So maybe it's not shocking to hear then that unlike what you may have learned in Jurassic Park, the king had great eyesight. The original Spinosaurus skeleton was destroyed during World War II after an Allied bombing run, because the museum director, a die-hard Nazi, was salty that the owner of the bones was not a Nazi supporter, and thus he refused to evacuate the fossils. As of now, the largest dinosaur with
Nazis
confirmed
ruining
feathers was the
everything.
predatory theropod Eutyrannus, who lived in Cretaceous China and measured up to 9 meters or 30 feet long. It is also the largest two-legged thing ever found with confirmed evidence of feathers. And speaking of two-legged things, scientists will often use bipedal dinosaurs as a reference when building bipedal robots, as their leg structures are sometimes considered more efficient than our own. There's almost a 100% chance that you've drank the very same water that a thirsty dinosaur gobbled down millions of years ago. Despite all the jokes that tyrannosaurs get about having short arms, the Abelisauridae, not the tyrannosaurs, had the shortest forelimbs proportionally of any known dinosaur group.
I like that I went through a bunch of different emotions with that one. It's like, oh, cool. Oh, that's pee. And then it's like, they up in it's not the Krebs cycle. That's not the one. Krebs is energy. I meant the one that like the cycle of water, goes up in the air, gets rained out, gets drank, gets peed out, gets evaporated again, whatever that one's called. I was really bad at science, okay?
With the Carnotaurus in particular having the shortest amongst that specific group. As a whole, the non-avian dinosaurs ruled Earth for about 165 million years, give or take, which is almost 3 times the duration of so-called mammalian rule. The first dinosaurs to be named by a paleontologist, and you should know this by now if you watch our videos, hint hint, was the Megalosaurus, a Jurassic-dated theropod that hails from England. A good chunk of dinosaur eggs and fossilized embryos show signs of precociality, meaning many kinds of dinosaurs were born almost fully self-sufficient, no waiting around like us apes to become useful. T-Rex is more closely related to a hummingbird than many dinosaurs lived alongside.
Isn't that just because like our bodies are not really great? Like the babies come out not ready because we physically can't keep them in there longer because our bodies just aren't good at that. It's a poor design. Like, because a lot of other mammals, they just pop them babies out and the baby is good like right away. Like there's a couple that aren't, but like I feel like most mammals are pretty good pretty quick. It's just us. It's like, nope, we definitely needed another like 3 months to cook. We just can't. Mama can't hold her in.
Including the Triceratops. Dinosaurs experience shorter days and longer years than we do, due to the moon's differential position during the Mesozoic period, with days at the time lasting approximately 23.5 hours, while years went on for about 372 days.
Okay.
While sauropods, as I mentioned, could be massive, not all were ginormous, with the smallest, like Magurosaurus, Paludatitan, and Europasaurus, all being closer to a bull in size than an adult elephant. There was no carnivorous dinosaur that had 4 legs, like a lion or Komodo dragon.
Oh.
While sauropods have always
that's
been pretty
really
much depicted
interesting.
as gentle giants, we weren't actually 100% sure that they ate green stuff, because despite them being shaped and designed like vegetarians, no concrete proof was known until recently. Recently meaning just this year, after fossilized gut content containing a bunch of leaves were found in a certain specimen. meaning that for nearly 150 years, we were only really guessing. Smartly guessing, though. There is only one dinosaur that researchers are confident in that we know what it sounded like whilst alive, and that is the Parasaurolophus. As in one study, researchers were able to reconstruct a complete 3D model of its iconic horn, and blew air through the passages, producing a sound that sounded like this. And obviously it's quite amazing that we have an idea of how at least one dinosaur sounded like, as this area of their life was once considered impossible to ever unlock.
That's so
And a similar
cool.
situation is seen in dinosaur coloration, a field that for a long time was unknown. However, recently, certain paleontologists have realized that within exceptionally preserved specimens, melanosomes can still be found, an organelle that's the site for synthesis, storage, and transport of melanin within an animal, thus allowing us to analyze what color they might have been in life.
Oh, that's
And
so
naturally,
cool.
finding melanosomes in a dinosaur is rather rare, but we have still found them. And here they are along with their corresponding coloration. Borealopelta
Wow.
had a reddish-brown color to it, an unidentified hadrosaur is probably gray in life, a 2016 Psittacosaurus shows signs of being countershaded with stripes and spots, the
That's
Yuan
so
Tuatus was black and gray, Prototeryx was also black, and Eocon fuciosornis, who had a secondary color as well, gray. Meanwhile, Crurospenia was of unknown color, but likely was in part darker shades of browns. Confuciornis was primarily gray, with secondary areas of white. Changzuiornis was black, and unnamed Bohyornithidae was weakly iridescent. Wulong was iridescent and gray. Sinosauropteryx was countershaded with shades of white and reddish-brown. Sinornithosaurus was a mix of red and black. Microraptor, iridescent black. Huadanosaurus.
This is so cool that we know what colors so many of these things were. That's bonkers, because that's something that I've been wondering in several of the videos that I've been watching recently. It's like, how do we know what they're like why did we choose that color for this video or something? That's so cool that we know what some of them looked like.
Was a blend of red and brown. Caudipteryx was dark gray and black. Kaihong was iridescent and black. Then Beipiasaurus was light and dark brown. Archaeopteryx was primarily black. And then finally, Anchiornis was a mix of white, gray, and dark red. And another interesting thing about this last dinosaur is that another specimen found later on, with melanosomes as well, seemed to have been a different color, leading paleontologists to believe that the two specimens were possibly of different ages. And who knew that the color of dinosaurs would go from unknown to quite an extensive list?
Yeah,
and
that's
it's really
so
just
nuts.
one of the many advancements that we made in paleontology over the last few years.
That's so cool.
And we now understand dinosaurs better than ever before. And obviously I can't tell you everything about dinosaurs in one video, but these facts so far should be more than enough info to bewilder a few people.
That's
Thanks
so
for
cool.
watching, and don't forget to check out Fishing Clash if you want to try some prehistoric fishing from the safety of your own home. Link and code in the description. And until next time, on Extinct Zoo.
Cool. That is really, really cool. I'm barely gonna, I'll remember some of those facts. Not all of those facts, but that's awesome. Oh, that's really, Anyway, I'm gonna go before I just say that's really cool 15 times, because that'll be boring for everybody. Thank you for watching this. And if there's any other videos I should be looking at, go ahead and let me know. There will be some others I know for a fact that are coming soon. So there's going to be a new Dimeshkuta Berrigan video that I do soon, a long Fat Electrician video, another Dinosauria, the making of video will be coming soon. Another Lindsay Nicole video. So that's like 4. I've got like a couple of videos that I know for sure I'll be doing in the next, I'll be filming in the next day or so. So they'll be showing up quick. I will see you in one of them. Bye.